All right, you guys. Well, good morning. It's exactly 9 o'clock, and today is our last call from this Think and Grow Rich series. And so if you guys don't have a piece of paper and a pencil, please grab one because we're going to go super, super fast. We have seven or six principles to cover today. So grab a piece of paper and a pencil. What I'm going to do is I'm not going to recap. I'm just going to list the first five that we went over. For those of you who are on the call, and maybe this is your first time, my name is Carla, and I'm calling you here from Los Angeles. And this is a personal development team call that we've been doing now for over a year. And the purpose of this call is to really get all of us in alignment with what it is that we want and to develop the skills that will have us have, whatever it is that we want by becoming the person that we need to become in order to attract it. So we took on this challenge the beginning of the month of really taking in this concept of the 13 principles of this amazing book called Think and Grow Rich. And we all have homework, so I don't know how that is going. We'll open up the lines at the end to see if we've been consistent. I will confess that I haven't been as consistent as the beginning of the month, and this is something that ends up happening to human beings, right? Like we start thinking like, oh, well, we go for it, and then we get super excited, and then things happen, and we lose track. But the great thing is ourselves back on our feet and really figure out, okay, like what's going on that's having me off track. So today's principles, I think, will really support all of us. And as I was studying it to do it for today, I was thinking about it, and I'm like, oh, this is like so for me. So, all right, so let's get started. So we went over the first five principles in the last couple of calls, which is number one is that, so this book, Think and Grow Rich, is all about how to manifest riches, whether it's money, whether it's health, riches in abundance, and whatever it is that you want, whatever definition you have of riches, we are just going to use, for the sake of purpose, money or the next level in your company or in your business, whatever that is for you or your body, okay? Just to kind of keep it general. All right, so here we go. So the first couple of weeks, we talked about the first five, which was number one is that in order for us to be able to really attract into our life and manifest what we want, number one, we must have desire. Okay, and there were 6 steps when it came to desire, which was figure out exactly how much amount of money you want or exactly what it is that you want, know what you will do to obtain it, have a specific date by when you will have it, put together a concrete plan, a definite plan of how you were going to achieve it, write down a statement, and repeat it every morning and every night. Now, these 6 steps are going to come into play with the rest of the 13 principles. So that was our homework for the whole month of October, is to really put those 6 steps into action. The second step was all about faith. Third step was auto-suggestion, is being able to really manifest things into our mind by auto-suggesting, whether it was visualizing or repeating it out loud. Number 4 was specialized knowledge, to really be crystal clear that whatever it is that you want to achieve in your life, you've got to have knowledge about that. Number 5 is imagination, because it all starts here, right? It all starts with your imagination, and we really went into this last week, which was so many times we have limited resources, whether it's time, money, whatever it is. But one of the things we can all count on is our imagination. And history shows that when we have the most amount of limited resources has been when the imagination really went into play. Some of the most amazing things have occurred, through imagination. So we stopped there. So now we've got, and then we had the 6th one, which I can't remember what it was. Okay, so now let's go ahead and go through the last principles, which is, number 6 was auto-motivation. There it is. Okay, so auto-motivation, and so we talked a lot about that last week a little bit. I'm sorry, we didn't talk that much about it last week, but we really talked about how when the auto-motivation is really something that can be self-generated. When you have the decision and you have crystal clear what you want, and you have the auto-suggestion, you build faith. And many times with imagination and with what we're going to talk about today with the mastermind groups and things like that, you will start having more control over your motivation and really be able to generate the auto-motivation. That was number 6. Okay, so here we go. Number 7, and that is decision. Okay, and so number 7, so now we're going into the last 6 of them that we're missing. So number 7 is decision. And here's what here's what we all know, right? That nothing good comes out of procrastinating. Do we all do it? Absolutely. Okay? But when research has been done and they have interviewed people like people that were successful, and then, as Jim Rome says, we should have a seminar for people that have failed. One of the common denominators, if not some of the things that headed the list, at the head of the list, the top of the list, was for failure was procrastination, postponing things. Like I said, we all do this, but this is something we must all conquer. Okay? The biggest success in life, people that have created abundance, whether it's in wealth or whatever, this is something that they manifested or that they had self-control on, and that was procrastination. So when you make a decision, some of the greatest leaders, when they were observed, this is what they did. This is what research shows about them, that they make decisions fast. They don't procrastinate about making decisions. How many times do we go somewhere and we're like, well, I don't know if we want to, well, or whatever, right? But the biggest leaders are people that have achieved things in life. They make decisions fast, but they change them slowly if needed. And Henry Ford was one of the best examples of that. He was known, regardless of what everybody's opinion is about the car, if it was pretty, if it wasn't pretty, if it's, the first vehicle, that he was so known to, sometimes they might even be considered people that are stubborn, right? People that set their mind to something, they make a decision, and it's really hard to change their mind. Now, sometimes that can backfire, of course. Times change, and we must start to, get with the times, as they say, right? But how many times do we know people that take forever to make a decision, yet when they make it, they change it really fast? That is like a formula for failure, formula for not success, okay? Because what happens is you are so quick to be influenced by opinions outside of you, the media, so many things. You make a decision, and then somebody says something, and you're like, oh, and then boom, you change it. Or, so many times in our business, we talk about this. It's like you've got a plan, stick to it. You go to an event, you go somewhere, you hear a new idea, and then you completely stop doing what you're doing and take on another idea. Now, do you want to adopt ideas? Do you want to implement ideas, add ideas? Absolutely. But be mindful about your plan and be careful about switching it all because of somebody's opinion or the outside sources that have nothing to do with really what it is that you want. So, in other words, when you have an idea, okay, if it's worth having to you, stick to it until you accomplish it. Number 8, persistence. And here's the thing. You want to write down this formula. When you have force of will, like a force, and you have a lot of will behind that force, a force of will, plus desire, it's an irresistible pair. When you have desire and you have will, that is an irresistible pair. And I would even add a word to that, and I would put unstoppable. Because, yes, we must be persistent. And in the words of an amazing leader, Mark Hughes, you got to be persistent, right? And he would say you have to be consistent about being consistent. Well, we could say that you have to be persistent, and you have to be persistent about being persistent, okay? So here's the thing. This is the difference between success and failure. So many times we lack resources or we lack knowledge. But if you're persistent, you've got a bigger chance of succeeding than somebody who has all the knowledge, who has all the skills, but doesn't have persistence with what they want. Now, we have all experiences. We have all something in our lives that we are skilled at, that we have talent with, and we know that we're good. But having that knowledge and the skill set level, while it is important, if it's not put into action, if we're not persistent about, going after whatever it is that we want, it's like all these jewels locked up in a safe. Nobody can see them. Nobody can enjoy them. They get no use out of them. It's the same thing. Your resources, your talent are those jewels. But without persistence, nothing's going to occur. Now, here's the good news about being persistent. Now, for those of us who are probably thinking like, oh, man, so number 1, I shouldn't procrastinate. Oh, my God, now I got to be persistent. How do I do that? Okay? So here's what you want to start writing down. Persistence can be cultivated. Because it's a state of mind. And anything, as we have been talking on these calls for like over a year, we have been, we have all been sharing about how when you change your thinking, you change everything. You have consciousness, okay? You really start to become aware of your thoughts and your actions. All that is because of the state of mind. And when you can understand that you have complete control over your thoughts, now I know sometimes it doesn't seem like it, okay? We're going to talk about that, but it's a cultivated thing. So because it's a state of mind, anything that's a state of mind can be cultivated. So now let's think about how can we cultivate this. So let me give you 8 steps. Number 1, have a concrete purpose. In other words, know what you want. So you can't be persistent about something you don't even know you want. Okay, so many times we are still like, I know, okay, look, as you guys know on these calls, I have confessed the good, the bad, and the ugly, and my mistakes, and my lessons, and my victories on these calls with you guys. I can tell you, and I'm not ashamed at all about this, the times that I have been, quote unquote, unmotivated or lazy or depressed or not energetic, like those not happy moments, I guess you could say, a huge part of it was because I didn't even know what I wanted. So you can't go after something you don't even know that you want. So number 1 is to have concrete purpose, okay? When you know what you want, things start to open up. Number 2, decision. Have decision, okay? So in other words, when you say something, go for it. Don't procrastinate. You wanted, like, for example, somebody the other day told me, how do you wake up so early, Carla? I'm like, you know what? Like, I don't know. I just decided I'm going to do it, and I wake up and I go for it. So number 2, decision. Number 3, self-confidence. Oh, my gosh, so important, okay? So important. If you are going to constantly be doubting yourself, it's going to be pretty challenging to be persistent if you're doubting yourself. And we talked about that last week on the call, how to generate self-confidence. Number 4, have a concrete, a precise plan, a specific plan. See, here's the thing. When we wake up in the morning and we're like, what should I do today? You're done. But when you have a specific plan, like I'm going to wake up at this time, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. Now, will things happen? Yeah, but if you have a plan as to what you're going to do to get what you want, you have a bigger opportunity of being able to accomplish it. Therefore, you'll be more persistent, okay? So number 1, have a concrete purpose. Number 2, decision. Number 3, self-confidence. Number 4, precision in your plans. Number 5, knowledge. Precise knowledge. Again, we talked about this last week. It is so important. You guys want to get to the next level, you've got to know what it's going to take. You got to know what it means to get there. Whatever it is for you, next level in your body, next level in your business, next level in your relationship, whatever it is, you've got to have knowledge as to how you're going to achieve it. Okay? You can't want to have an amazing, healthy body, fit body, and then go and eat pizza every day. You got to get knowledge around your diet, knowledge around your exercises, knowledge around whatever it is that you want to accomplish. I think you guys get the idea, okay? Okay, number 6, have a sense of collaboration. Look, here's the thing, and this is something I've had to work on, that it is, as they always say, as a unit, we're going to get to the next level. It is really challenging to accomplish anything magnificent or big in life by yourself. You've got to have a sense of collaboration. Number 7, strong will. And this one, you've got to put like a star next to that one, okay? Because things are going to happen. People are going to have opinions. People are going to have, the media's going to tell you something, whatever, right? But you've got to have a strong willpower. I would even put like willpower, okay? Because when you do that, when when the wind comes and the tornadoes come, you've got, like, it's all right. This is part of the deal. This is part of the deal, okay? I'm actually going to, maybe next week, I had a big, huge, as you guys know, I go to a success seminar at Landmark, and the last week's class I had so many breakthroughs in regards to this particular section. Anyway, number 8, habits, okay? And here's the thing you want to put. You are a result of your habits. Ouch. I know that kind of hurts, right? Like, what do you mean? But yeah, you really are a result of your habits. Like, if you have the habit of having negative thoughts, most likely you're going to be a negative person. It's really challenging to have all these negative thoughts and then be happy and positive all day. It just doesn't work that way, right? So number 1, concrete purpose. Number 2, decision. Number 3, self-confidence. Number 4, concrete plans. Number 5, precise knowledge. Number 6, sense of collaboration. Number 7, strong will. And number 8, habit. So that is your formula for persistence. Now let's go into the number 9 principle of this amazing book, or as we all determined last week, it's actually a workbook, right? Because it's really not something you can just read once. All right, number 9, mastermind. And here's the thing you want to get. This is so important. A mastermind, for those of you who don't know what that is when you get together with a group of people. Normally it's like-minded individuals, okay? Or you might have like the same purpose. You might have different opinions or whatever, right? It's all part of being human. But you get a group of people, 2 or more, okay, is what you can't have a mastermind on your own. But 2 or more people where you come together and really here's the moment, the purpose of this group is to really be able to generate each other, hold each other accountable, right? And if you have a group of people that you can align, that you guys are in alignment with what you want, like let's say if you get a mastermind group, let's just say this is like something that I just got back from the gym. That's why this is still present to me right now. But if you get a group of people, a mastermind for fitness, health and fitness, well-being, right? And you have a group of people, and they're all like motivated to get their health well, to live well and to be healthy and active and energetic and eat well and be, clean-minded, all that stuff, right? Well, if you get them together and let's say, you fall off the wagon for a week or 2, they're going to be like, hey, what's going on? They're going to be like your cheerleaders, your group. Maybe you're stuck in something like, hey, you know what? I'm having a challenging time not losing, this last little bit of not firmness under my arms. And then someone goes, oh my God, you should do these workouts and they'll help you. So they're there to stimulate your mind. And when you get together, I'm sure you guys have experiences at some moment in your life. When you have 2 people or more, and like let's say I'm saying something, and then that other person gets an idea because of what I'm sharing. So there is something, and as you guys all know, I'm totally into like the energy and all that kind of stuff. It's something magical when 2 people come together. It's almost as if 1 + 1 equals 3. Okay? Now you can call that God, higher being, the universe, whatever you want to call it, okay? But, I know all of you guys have experienced this. When you get together with a group of people, these ideas come to you that you're like, where did that come from? Don't think I'm crazy, okay? But I sometimes even get like little whispers. Like I'll be saying something to someone, and then they'll start talking, and then I'll get like a little thought in my mind, like a little whisper, and I'm like, I don't know why I just got this idea, but I feel like I need to share it with you. And sometimes it's like what takes our relationship or our conversation to a whole nother level. It's trippy, but I know if you guys, especially for those of us who meditate a lot, okay, which has been part of these call series on the Core 4, if you guys haven't done that, go on to my website, entrepreneurintelligence.com, and you'll see the Core 4 talking about how to balance your life. One of the pieces was meditation. And I know sometimes it's not, sometimes people think you have to meditate, like sit down and go, no, like turn off the radio in your car and just be with yourself, like quiet the mind. And the more you do that, like you really will get answers to a lot of things, okay, which is not about this call. But anyhow, the point is, I don't know why, there it is again, like I don't know why I told you guys that, but hopefully somebody on the call can benefit from that. The point here is, when you get a mastermind group, you want to make sure that these are people that you respect, that are people that have integrity, that are people that are preferably that are conscious, okay? Because the last thing you want is for you to be a very conscious individual and this other person to be ridiculously unconscious and then give you the most terrible advice, okay? So remember, people's advice or their opinions come from their reality. You got to think about what they're saying and who's saying it, and just don't take don't take everything just because, okay? So that's number 9. And, here in our business, we're so blessed to have such amazing people and so many like-minded individuals, but if you don't have that, look for that. Okay, number 10, enthusiasm, okay? Now, there's so much we can say about that, so much. But really, it's like to have enthusiasm about life, about your goals, about what you want to accomplish. Could you imagine you wanting to accomplish something and not be enthusiastic about it? Okay, I guess you could, but it would be pretty draining and not that fun, okay? So here's the thing how you can definitely get enthusiasm is really be crystal clear about your purpose. And when you know that you're like in alignment with your purpose is when you have that excitement about whatever it is that you're working on. As many of you guys know, coming 2015 in January, I'm going to be leading a program called Entrepreneur Path, and it's part of the University of Southern California Latina Leadership Academy. And, it's one thing that I've known this about me. My mom the other day was reminding me when I was little, what I would do, what I would say, how I would participate in all these things. I've always loved to contribute, especially to my culture, the Latin market, but for sure to the women. I love the men, right? But I really feel like I really connect with Latinas. And so as I'm working on this program, I'm so excited about it, right? Because there's a purpose. I see how this is going to benefit these women and how it's going to increase their business. I'm getting all these resources together for them, right? I'm studying, I'm doing all these things because it really it brings me joy. So this enthusiasm is one of the principles because it really allows you to stay on track, and really it's all about really being able to have fun with what you're doing. Now, here's another way that you can get enthusiasm is to really start to cultivate, and again, it's part of the Core 4 idea, start to cultivate and nourish your relationship. See, if you have a purpose, maybe your purpose is to create a better lifestyle for you and your family, for your kids, for your significant other, okay, take care of those relationships. No kidding, take care of your wife, your husband. Take care of your daughter or your son. It does not take much. Doesn't take much to just send somebody a text and say, you know what, thank you so much for what you did yesterday. Or thank you so much for my lunch. Or thank you so much for my breakfast this morning, my shake this morning, whatever. Okay, take care of that because really the quality of your life is directly proportional to the quality of your relationship. Now, if you don't believe me, just look around. If you have quality relationships, if you're nurtured and people are around you that support you, they love you, they cheer you on, you have a way better quality of life than somebody who's constantly beating you up, telling you you're stupid, telling you you're no good. I mean, it's, you're going against the current, right? So that's how you can get nurture enthusiasm. Okay, that's number 10. Where are we? Number 11, okay? Subconscious mind. Now, man, I could do a whole half hour on this call, which I already did. For those of you who haven't or weren't on the calls, if you go on entrepreneurintelligence.com, look under the neuroscience call series. But, basically, as we all know, the subconscious mind, actually we don't know, the subconscious mind, we don't even understand it, okay? But we know it's there, okay? We know that it's there. And really, it's just think of the subconscious mind, because, by the way, it never rests, it never sleeps, it never stops. It's always working. Thank God, right? Otherwise we'd be dead. But anyhow, so subconscious mind, think of it as like a deck of cards where you literally grab these cards and you file them. And everything that you put into this deck, so like this, this drawer, and you're filing all these cards, right? You can then go back and grab what you need. But if you didn't put it in there, you can't grab it. But here's the thing. Sometimes we don't even know what we dropped into our subconscious mind. So be conscious all the time of what you put in your mind. And in the words of Jim Rohn, how do you say it? Be the guard of your mind. You've got to protect what goes in there. And I know this might sound a little bit radical, but even from the music we listen to the things we watch on TV. Listen, the other day I was watching, I couldn't really sleep, and so I was watching this movie, which I'm not even going to tell you what it is, but these scenes came on that were oh my God, they started freaking me out. And I had to turn it off, and it was ready to go to bed, and I'm thinking, what did I just do? Because for those of you who don't know, the last 30 minutes before you go to bed really impact the quality of your sleep. So I was okay, way to go, Carla, right? So I literally had to just sit there and relax and bring beautiful thoughts to my mind. But I got to tell you, it was really hard. Okay? And the next day when something happened, I started getting triggered. So I'm okay, why am I watching these things? I know this. I know that those things impact me. I don't like to get scared. As this whole Halloween thing of going to haunted houses, not for me. right? So I already know this about me. So be careful what you put in your mind, because at the end of the day, it does affect you, okay? And here's the thing. If you got to be mindful about this. If you're not putting the thoughts in your mind, like if you're not conscious about the ideas and the thoughts that are dropping into your mind, to your subconscious mind, you've got to start to wonder, then what is? Then who is? Like, who's influencing your thoughts? Who's influencing, like, what is being put into this deck of cards, okay? Because if it's not you, I'm promising you something is, okay? So be mindful of what's going in there, because if you're not controlling what is being put in, something else is. TV, the relationships, the people that are around you, you've got to start be paying attention. I'm telling you, it'll make the biggest difference in your life, okay? So, and here's the thing about the subconscious mind. If you take back the first step number 1, which is desire, and the 6 steps that we put into practice about, reading your statement every morning and every night. If maybe you were brought up thinking that everything was bad and don't trust people, and you were brought up, and for the last 10, 15, 20, 15, 30, whatever years, have been not pleasant for you. And all of a sudden you get conscious and you're like, you know what? I don't want to live my life that way anymore. I don't want to think that way. I don't want to act that way. I don't want to be that type of person anymore. At that moment, and again, if you go onto Entrepreneur Intelligence, you guys watch the audio. I put it up there with Joe Dispenza. That moment can start bringing in new wiring into your brain, okay, which actually number 12 is the brain. So I'm gonna combine these two. So the brain, put number 12, the brain. And here's the thing you want to know, okay, that you've got, put a 1 and then 15 million zeros after that 1, and that's how many connections we have in the brain. Now, to think that your brain is only moving your arm and your leg is really silly. So when we're talking about the subconscious mind and the brain, okay, number 11, number 12, you've got to start thinking that it really plays a huge role in your life, a role that most of us, okay, I'm not going to say us because we've been doing this for a year, but a lot of people out there in the world don't have consciousness around it. They just think things are the way they are. They have no control about circumstances. They have no control in their lives. And we have been doing this for a year, thinking your life is a complete reflection of your internal world. I know that's really challenging to think about that, but then again, if you really think about it, it's kind of relief. You're like, oh, you mean to tell me I have a say? And yet the answer is absolutely. And here's the thing about your subconscious mind. It doesn't know time. Okay, so how many times have we seen people that have worked for 40 years, okay, with all respect, and they're still not living the kind of life they want? And then there's people that work for 4 years and live this amazing life, and you think, what was the difference? And it was their belief, their thought patterns, and, of course, their actions. But it all comes down to your subconscious mind, you visualizing what you want and really feeling to your core that you can have it every morning and every night. Okay, so we got 1 more minute here. So that was 11, number 12. Okay, number 13, and that's your 6th sense. Now, man, there's so much to say about that one, okay? But here's what I want you to write down about this, the 6th sense. Now, you can call it a lot of us know that women, we have like that extra gene, right, the 6th sense. And it's something that you got to be that you have all been familiar with. Like, you get this intuition or you get this little, like, idea, and you're like, where did that come from? It's that 6th sense. But it really gets strong when you dominate the first 12. When you dominate your desire, you dominate your subconscious mind, you dominate, you have an organized plan, you dominate your knowledge around what you're doing. When you have the first 12, like when you're practicing that, the 6th sense will really come like by just natural. And so many times people think, oh my God, that was a miracle. Oh my gosh, she is just so lucky. Well, consider not. As we talked about in the Neuroscience Call series, we talked and we looked at how really your thoughts are like you plant little seeds, and you forget that you planted tomatoes, and then you plant cucumbers, and then in the middle of the cucumber, a tomato comes out, and you're like, where'd that come from, right? Oh, my God, it's a miracle. I have tomatoes in the middle of a cucumber harvest. No, guess what? You put that seed in there. Whether it's good or bad or whatever it is, right? It is what it is because you decided at some moment in your life to put it in there. Now, all of a sudden you could say, you know what, I don't want to have tomatoes anymore, and you can pull out that root and move it, but guess what? It's going to take effort. So the sixth sense is like this higher power, and you tap into it. I'm telling you, for those of you who don't meditate, give it a chance. You know, maybe we should do that for November. You know, take the challenge as we did for October to read our statement morning and night. Maybe we should do that for November. Meditate for 30 days. I'm telling you, it'll change your life. And it doesn't mean you have to sit there and hum for 30 minutes, but it's just to quiet the mind and listen to yourself. Listen to your higher self, okay? So that's number 13. So those are the 13 principles of this amazing book, Think and Grow Rich. And it's exactly 9:30. As you know, we start at 9 sharp and we end at 9:30 sharp. So what I'm going to do is don't hang up. I'm going to open up the lines. Hopefully you guys are all on your phone. Please hit mute on your phone. I'm going to open up the lines to see if you guys have any questions or any comments, or if you guys would like to share how the homework is going, okay? So hang on, don't hang up.